What's up, YouTube? Prof Sales coming at you with another episode of Making of a Shoe Reseller. I think I stole that title from Netflix on a wholly different series, on a wholly different topic. But anyway, this series of videos is journaling our shoe expedition. I don't know what the right term is here. The journey to 500 listings on eBay in terms of shoes and so on. And so it's just a way for me to have some accountability to myself, have some accountability around this goal, and just see what we find, see what we learn. But the goal is by the end of this year, by the end of 2017, to have at least 500 listings of shoes up on eBay. And I think it's doable. I think it's definitely going to be a challenge for sure, because as you list more, you sell more. And as you sell more, you have to list even more. But I think it's doable, and it'll be a lot of cool things to learn along the way. So I'm letting the room kind of fill up here for a moment, and then we'll get into some numbers and so on and how it's been going. But I have been sharing my numbers on this journey, like what I've been selling, how much I've sold. I've been sharing solds as well. So kind of a little bit of everything, and usually like a recent, something that I recently learned is what I like to share with you guys as well. So we'll do that today. And then we have time for Q&A as well. If you have questions during the chat, you can certainly type the word question or 3 question marks, just so I can kind of pick it out and try to answer it best I can. But we'll definitely have time at the end as well for questions. So, all right, so we'll get into it. All right, so shoes. Somebody asked, is a 5,000 jean challenge dead? It is not dead, but it's not going to happen this year. So just so you know. But it's definitely become a more modified, realistic goal. I just don't think it was realistic to get to 5,000 jeans. So shoes is a little more manageable. This is a more manageable goal. I was just running into too many sourcing problems with jeans, as well as some other issues to get to 5,000. And it would definitely require a bigger space than we have now as well. And there's just no way to really do it at this time. So, all right. So let me kind of give you some current stats. I'm going to try to share this spreadsheet so you can see results. All right. All right, so here are current numbers. I basically have 116 116 shoes listed. Only one sold this month. I don't know why the numbers have been so low, but they are, and it is what it is. I've listed 19 so far on the month, which is a little behind my pace. I wanted to be around 25 by this point, but realistically, that's only 6 listings, so I'm not that far off of where I need to be one weekend. My listing goal is to be at 100, at least list 100 this month. So I still have 81 to go. And my sold to list ratio is something I do where I just divide the amount sold by the number that I've listed. It's 5% so far. And daily sell through doesn't really mean much until you get to the end of the month. So we'll see how that is. But yeah, so I don't know. I mean, we'll see what these numbers look like as we get to the end of the month. They're kind of deceiving to look at early in the month because you don't really know anything. The average sell time for this month is 24, but that's just with one item sold. So I don't know that you can really make much of that. But you can see like the last few months, we've had 6.5, 8.5, 12.7, and then the one item this month. So we'll see how that goes, if that holds. Average sale price, that was a $20 pair that I sold earlier this month, with about $7.86 of shipping income and so on, and netted $11.27. That was a lower price pair of shoes, so for sure that was not really kind of what my numbers have been. You can see the previous 3 months that the amount of net per shoes was pretty good, and so this one off this month doesn't really mean much. It's kind of tough in a week like this when there's not a lot of stats or a lot of metrics to go off of. So because you don't really know if it means anything or not. But shoes so far have been producing, you know, $20 plus net per item, which I think is pretty good for a clothing type item. I think, you know, my minimum is always I wanted to hit at least a $10 net per item in any clothing item I sell. And so to sell, you know, that much or to sell that much per item so far with shoes has been really good. That's, you know, double, more than double, really. And we'll see what it comes out this month and so on. But those are some numbers. So hopefully that all made sense. We'll come back. So yeah, it's just a not really much to show you in terms of the numbers with this past week with only one sold. It is what it is. So as we, you know, we go along and I start having, you know, 200 and 300 and 400 and 500 listings, you know, there will be more sales. A couple other things too I noticed too is that you know, I don't think shoes, I mentioned this last week, shoes are not really, don't seem to be as seasonal as a lot of other clothing is in the summer. Now, whether or not that holds true, I don't know. We'll see if that holds true over the next few months, but I feel like it will be true. Just kind of from what, you know, talking to other shoe resellers and so on. And if you guys have any experience with that too, if any of you sell shoes that are here in the chat or later in the comments, and if you see seasonality in shoes and want to share that, that'd be cool. I don't know that there is. Obviously, summer is a different time because school gets out, people go on vacations. They're probably not sitting in front of their computer shopping as much. But you know, with the rise of mobile devices and so on, I kind of think that trend is going to go away. I mean, summer shopping might not be quite as strong as, say, the fall just because of the Christmas push, but I think, you know, a lot of people now, you can shop from anywhere. And I don't know that the season of the year is going to affect it as much as it used to in the past. We'll see if that plays out over the next several years. Jennifer says that water shoes and sandals sell more this time of year, which makes sense. That's what people are looking for. That makes a lot of sense about the sandals too. Just not even just flip-flops and things like that, but just sandals because people are looking for, you know, shoe wear that, you know, they can wear when it's hot in a lot of the country. Someone asked, what's your average cost per pair? Well, I would say this so far, the average cost, I'm going back to my spreadsheet for a moment, has been $389 for the 116 pair that I've had listed and sold. So $389, is that a good price to pay for shoes? I mean, if you're selling them for a net profit of $20, I mean, that's like a 5X. I think that's pretty good. It's probably closer to 6X. So, you know, if you're having to pay $12.99 for a pair of shoes, they better be really good. I mean, they better be really good. But I just think that, you know, I think you can find a lot of shoes out there for $5 or less that you can sell for $25 or more. I may be wrong about that. I'm still a neophyte at selling shoes for sure, but just kind of what I've seen in the numbers. And, you know, in the clothing game, if you can 5X your cost of goods, you know, buy for $5, sell for $25, you're doing pretty good. I mean, yeah, there's items out there you can, you know, sell for 8 or 10 or even 20 times your cost sometimes, but you're not going to find as many of those usually. So you're going to have a lot of little base hits and occasionally get some home runs and grand slams. Some other people in the chat. What's up, Luke? Good to see you, man. Tino's there. Hey, buddy. Tino is on a research mission for me, and I'm going to share what he's researching, guys. I'm excited about this pair of shoes that we found. And it's funny because when we found them, and it might turn out to be nothing, but we found this pair of shoes a couple weeks ago, and I was just they were kind of in my listing order, and I was just getting a listing of them today. And they probably don't look that impressive. You know, they're just a pair of black wingtips. They're a pretty large size, actually. They're probably maybe a 12, 11 and a half, you know, good size shoe. But I think that, you know, this particular pair of shoes, I was doing some research on them today, and Tino's helped me out with this too. This particular pair of shoes, I don't know if you guys can see like the size info in here and so on, and you know, kind of what's going on there, but there's no size actually printed. I'm gonna hold it a little closer. So there's no size actually in this. There are numbers that, you know, could be sizes and so on, but I did some research on these, and I was telling Tino, and I found info that's, and there's no brand listed either, by the way. And I found info that said older dress shoes, like 1960s and before, often had series of numbers like this. And the size is kind of coded in these numbers. And they don't say where they're made either. And that's frequently an indication that they were made in the United States, which is even better. So I'm kind of interested to see what these turn out to be. I mean, they're a good looking shoe. You can see the soles in pretty good shape. The heel is Vulcan rubber, I guess it says. Tino, I don't know if you're still listening or not, but solid shoe, man. But you know, some of these vintage shoes from back then can go for big money. I don't know. We'll see if that happens or not. But you know, I'm kind of excited about the possibility, and of course, it'll take, you know, finding the right buyer. But I don't know what they are other than their wingtips. They have. I don't know if you guys can see the lace too. The lace is like a really thin type of lacing. I mean, and I remember my father wearing shoes with lacing like this way back when. So you don't see, like, you can tell too, it's like, it's not brittle, but it's definitely old, you know, these laces. And that's kind of interesting too, because today the laces are a little different on shoes. But these are definitely something older. How old? I don't know. Could they be a 1960s shoe? Maybe. You know, they could have sat in somebody's closet for decades. And they've been worn, but you can tell that's not a tremendous amount of wear. The heel is not worn down, and this could have been replaced. That's possible. But I'm telling you, overall, they're in good shape. So I'm really curious to see what they'll end up being. But anyway, hopefully those will be good. Tino's like, I'll get to work on this. Tino's like my shoe investigator. He's my SI. I think that should be Tino, maybe you got a second calling there, buddy. All right, so I'm going to share with you guys two recent solds, and a couple of these were from, you know, the week. In the last 2 or 3 weeks they've sold. I shared 3 last week, so I'm going to share 3 this week again. And you know, that's kind of going to be my goal each week, is just to share at least 3 solds that I've had, just kind of talk about them. There's couple things on one. There's one of them that's kind of an interesting story, I think. ARK asked, do smaller women's shoes sell 5 to 6? Yeah, of course. I mean, obviously there might not be as many women who wear those, so you're going to have maybe a little bit longer time. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, there's a market for virtually everything, it seems. Sometimes you just got to wait a little while to find it. So let me show you guys some solds from the past couple weeks. Let's see if I can get this to come up here with the screen share. And all right, so I'm sharing this screen. Okay, we don't need that guy on there, and we'll go to this one. All right, so oh no, that's not it. Here we go. All right, so the first pair is a pair of Ralph Lauren Suede Mules. These are platform clogs, for lack of a better term. Nice little shoe. They were pretty good shape. I mean, a couple little things here or there, but you can see nothing too bad. A little bit of scuffing there on that right shoe, the top one you can see, but a decent pair of shoes. Here's what's interesting about this. I believe I took a best offer on these of $20, which wasn't a lot, but my research showed that these did not really go for tremendous money. They were size 6. Here's the funny thing, or not so funny. So somebody bought these overseas, and I use global shipping. And I talked about this on my show yesterday. They went to, I want to say it was Russia, but that could be wrong. I don't remember exactly. But this pair of shoes, guys, you know, my shipping on them that I charged was like $661. You can see right here. But the buyer actually ended up paying a total of $50 to ship these to Russia. So they pay $20 for the shoe and $50 for the shipping. Now, eBay takes a cut because they handle the global shipping when you send it to their, I think their part of it was maybe $12, but it still costs like 20 some dollars, or maybe it was $30 almost to ship them. Man, I mean, they ended up weighing like just over 2 pounds. They didn't quite get under in that 1 to 2 pound range, so they bumped up a tier, I believe. But I felt kind of bad that this buyer paid this much for them. I think I was in them only for like $3.80 or $4 actually. So, you know, I made a little profit on them, nothing crazy, but man, global shipping's good, but man, when you got to pay $50 to ship something, that is crazy. So, but anyway, next pair up, Bako Bucci. I hope I'm saying that right. If I'm not, you guys will absolutely correct me. I'm sure of it. So nice little slip-on loafers here. These were made in Italy, I believe. You can see some of the photos. Great shape overall. I mean, the toe box was pretty good. Just a little bit of cracking there on the fronts of those soles. But this pair sold for $34.95, and again, about a $4 cost on these, so pretty good profit on those. Nice little pair of loafers, actually. I think they were. You can see some of the shots here. They actually are brown. They kind of look a little black in the photo, but they're actually a brown color. Brown and black are tough colors to get right with shoes, guys, I've noticed. And I'm still learning how to get the color correct when taking those photos. You can see here they're clearly brown, but when you look here, they look a little more black. But I can tell you for a fact they were brown. But just be careful with brown and black when you're taking photos. It's easy to get those wrong. Third pair, flats. I have no idea why ballet flats are so freaking popular, but they are. So, you know, the great thing about this little pair of Lucky brand flats is that they fit in a padded flat rate envelope. As a matter of fact, I can't remember, but nah, I think they were padded flat rate. They might have just went over a pound. I almost thought they could go first class because they were so light. Man, that's not a clear picture. Who took that? Oh yeah, it was me. So, you know, the picture, these are actually in really good shape. You can tell. I mean, you can see the toe box is really nice. Really no issues with these, honestly. I mean, they were just nice little pair of shoes. $34.95. I think I took a best offer, maybe like 30 on them actually. But again, I think these were a Ben's pair, so I might have picked these up for maybe even, they might have only cost like $1.50 actually. So really great. So leather flats, Lucky brand's a nice brand, but there's other ones out there too, a ton of them. But if you can find these leather flats, buy them because they're definitely worth it. They're worth your time, and they ship really cheaply. And you can, I don't think I held on to these. I'm sorry I don't have it pulled up what they, how long it took me to sell them, but it wasn't that long. And, you know, very easy sales, very popular right now, you know, so pick up flats when you can. Okay. All right. I thought I hit stop sharing my back. Yes, I'm back. All right. Let's see. I'm trying to catch up on questions here. J. Crew flats are amazing too. I'm lucky they're not your size. Yeah, Karin has a way of acquiring inventory, shall we say, for her personal use. And so anytime we're out and she sees something she likes, you know, of course. I mean, and honestly, if you think about it, if you're out thrifting, you know, you're going to find stuff for a lot cheaper than you would buy it new. I mean, for the price of one new item, sometimes you can buy 3 or 4 thrifted items. So it just makes sense if you truly want to keep, you know, your wardrobe up. At least I don't mean staying with the current fashions. I mean just, you know, having things that are nice and not worn out. Thrifting is a great way to do it. Plus, you can do it while you're out there sourcing. So yeah, I mean, shoes are just one of these things, guys. I think, you know, my initial impressions have been pretty right about them, is that you've really just got to dive into the brands and dive into the soles and completeds. And Karn and I made the mistake, not a mistake, but we made the decision at the beginning, I think, to, you know, we only focused on a few brands, but we really didn't understand that those brands in some cases did not have a lot of profitability. You know, some items in those brands were good, but others, you know, just picking up just the brand. And we've learned that in jeans, you know, just because it's a type of jean that can sell well doesn't mean it will. I mean, there's certain true religions. There's some really run-of-the-mill women's true religions that I wouldn't necessarily pick up and sell. And True Religion is an expensive jean for sure when it's new, but the resale on some of the pre-owned women's ones, like the Service Spa ones and so on, a lot of times can be really low. That's Diesel I'm thinking of. It's not Service Spa. It's I can't think of the name. I want to say Joey's, but that might not be right. There's a couple of the fits that are not great in True Religion in terms of the resale value. I mean, you'll sell them and you'll make a little bit, but it's not like it's a home run. Like you're going to make like, you know, $30, $40 profit on them. So, and shoes are the same thing. Like, you know, we started going heavy into Born and Bjorndal, and Born is a good shoe, but there's a lot of Borns on eBay right now. And I just don't know that you'll find like huge profit in Born shoes like you think you're going to find. There are some, obviously, but you know, guys, you got to do your homework. You got to do your research on this stuff. You've got to take some time to go and look through the soles, look through the completeds, figure out what sell-through looks like, figure out what the average selling price looks like for a particular brand, and then apply that to, you know, your source of supply in your area that you can get to and what you can find in terms of your situation. And, you know, we're lucky that we have a lot of thrifts around us. We have, you know, some bin stores that are within easy driving distance. And then, of course, we have all the normal, you know, yard sales, estate sales, which we haven't even really scratched the surface with that this year. We've been to yard sailing, I think, a couple weekends so far. And we definitely could go a lot more. It just seems like the weekends have been crazy with what's gone on Saturdays and so on the last couple months. But somebody, I thought that was going to be a sale, but it's just a message. eBay so tricks you with that sound sometimes. But yeah, you've got to do a little bit of research, guys. You can't just go buy 100 pair of shoes and expect they're all going to be great. My buddy Chris, 10K on the Bay, I remember talking to him a couple months ago when he bought a pallet full of shoes. And this was like a big pallet. Like he loaded up his car with this thing, and you know, they were dirty because, you know, shoes are kind of dirty. I mean, they're not cleaned usually when they're in these places. And he found some that were good, but I think in the final analysis, he decided that like that was really not worth the time to kind of go through and clean and put up, unless you just want to accept a really low profit margin on them. So he made money, but was it enough money for the time and energy you had to put in? So it just goes to show you, you know, you can't just go buy 50 pair of shoes and assume that you're going to make, you know, $1,000 profit on them. Not necessarily. You know, you're going to find 10 pair, you're going to find 5 pair that maybe you can't even sell because they got too many issues with them. And you're going to find another 20 that are going to sell for so low, you're hardly going to make anything. You know, so maybe of the remaining 20 or 25, you have some that you can sell, and probably only a few of those are going to be really, really good. But I was going to see if I had a couple others that are coming down the pike here. I've got, it's funny because this is actually my shoe cleaning station, for lack of a better term. I don't know if I showed those last time. I don't think I did. I don't think I showed any of these last time. Yeah, like this whole bucket right here is just about born, it seems like. Oh, where are those? Yeah. Like, I'm getting excited about shiny objects here. Yeah, so we got a couple other things that we're selling that we'll be putting up before too long. We found these nice little Saucony sneakers. You know, nothing crazy. You can see they're still banded together. Need a little bit of cleaning on the edges and so on. But Saucony's a nice running shoe, and that's basically what these are. I don't know what these will go for. I know new they would probably be like probably $80 or something like that. So I kind of look at the rule like you can usually sell with clothing items something for 25% of what it was new. Just it's kind of a good starting place. Sometimes more, sometimes less. So I'm thinking, you know, they might sell for $20. Nothing crazy. Let's see. We found these FootJoy golf shoes, but man, they're going to need some cleaning. Karen, you going to wear these? I don't think you're going to wear these.
No.
She doesn't golf. These are FootJoy Comfort. They're women's, obviously. Definitely will have to clean up the bottom, but that's really not that hard to clean that, quite honestly. You can just scrub that off with a brush in like 30 seconds. It's pretty good. So we found those. FootJoy is a great golf brand, in case you guys don't know. We found a couple other ones too. I think these are missing the spikes though. But maybe, why did we pick these up if they're missing the spikes?
Which ones?
These?
I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway, we picked up these, but these FootJoy as well, but they're missing the spikes. So yeah, I don't know if that's going to be as good.
You must have picked up those.
So Karen says I must have picked them up because clearly she would have never done such a thing. And then another final pair too. We've definitely gotten several of these Skechers Shape-Ups. These are the shoes, the infamous shoes that they settled a lawsuit with. And because, you know, it's supposed to be this big, thicker sole, gives your calves a workout or something. I don't even know what the hell they're supposed to be doing, but they don't work really. But that doesn't stop people from buying them because people think they work. So, hey, you know, what do you care? All right. So yeah, any other questions? Somebody asked about Doc Martens. Wasn't sure about shipping them due to being heavy. Yeah, Doc Martens are good. Just, you know, Karen kind of told you, said, you just got to put in calculated shipping. People want them, you know, it's a 3-pound boot. They're going to pay to get them shipped to them. That's just the way it goes. You know, you should never really lose money on it. What do you use to clean the white parts of shoes? Man, that's a great question. What have we been using the best, do you think, Karen, for white parts of shoes?
Our all-time favorite is the Magic Eraser.
Magic Eraser is good on white parts of shoes.
Baking soda.
Baking soda.
Toothpaste.
Toothpaste.
And when in doubt, if it's leather, white shoe polish.
And when in doubt, white shoe polish if it's leather. So a couple tips there for to get white parts of shoes clean. White parts of shoes. The cool thing about a white shoe is that, yeah, it shows dirt a lot, but you can tell when it's clean because it's white. You know, it really shows. There should be no mark on it. Whereas with a darker pair, sometimes you're going to miss some of the dirt and spots because it just sort of blends in with the finish of the shoe. Are the shoes behind you already listed? If so, don't they get dusty if they sit for a few months while waiting to sell? They are listed. That's, I don't know how many are there now. Close to 100. Not quite 100 right there. Well, pretty close. Because each of these is basically going to hold 50. We extended. We were just going to put 40 on a rack, but we decided to extend that one more on each of the 10 racks and make it be 50. So that's almost 100 right there, and I have some more in the garage. Do they get dusty? Maybe, but just wipe them off. You know, they're shoes. I mean, think about where shoes go, guys. We wear shoes on our feet outside. You know, with the exception of maybe like a really high-end shoe that, even that, you know, say it was like a pair of Chanel heels. I mean, somebody is going to wear those out, but they're wearing them outside. I mean, they're touching the ground. They're touching pavement and concrete and dirt, you know. Shoes are going to get dirty. I mean, that's just the way they are. So Mike says buy spikes. Yeah, we could do that. I don't know if it's going to be worth it if there's enough profit in those or not, but if there is, we'll certainly do that. We could just add in a little bag besides, say here, or we could just put them on it and take the photo. Let's see. Lauren suggests selling Doc Martens on Poshmark. There you go. Lauren does a lot of sales on Poshmark. So, are you listing the FootJoy in auction or buy it now? And what's a good starting price? Probably buy it now. And honestly, DJ, I'm not sure I know a good starting price for those. If anybody knows, I haven't really sold that many FootJoys or even listed any. I think I've only maybe listed one other pair. So I'm not really sure. I'm guessing somewhere in that $20 to $30 range, but I could be wrong because new, what are they? Probably 70, somewhere in there. I'm guessing. I mean, shoes are just expensive new. There's no question. But that would be my guess. If anybody else has experience listing FootJoy, type in the chat. Where did you purchase your shoe racks? Karin, you're beating me to like every freaking link. Can I answer anything here? Yeah, there's a link in the description of the video that has, it's associates link for Amazon. It has a link to the, what are they called? SongMics is the name of the brand. And they're about 34 bucks shipped to your house, guys. Really good deal. You can put them together. You don't need tools, no assembly, or there is assembly, but no extra tools are needed for the assembly. And I like them. I mean, they're simple. I mean, you're gonna spend some money on racks, guys. I mean, let's be clear here. I mean, even me doing 500 shoes is at least 10 racks. That's 335 bucks right there just for shoe racks. But what else am I going to do? I mean, where else am I going to put them? I could buy bins, but bins would cost money and you'd have to stack them. It'd be a pain in the butt. I could put them in cardboard boxes, but again, you're going to have to stack them or else spread them out on a big wide open floor. And I just don't have that kind of room. I mean, no matter what you do, you're going to spend some money storing your product. But I can use them over and over. When a spot goes away, when I sell one, I put a new one in its place. So it's not like I feel like these racks will hold up. They're not getting a lot of use. It's not like you're having to like go in and out of them constantly every day and pushing on them or putting them under stress. So I think they'll be okay. Pro tip, if you get these racks and you decide you want to hammer, see the little plastic, it's kind of hard to see the little plastic joint right there that goes together, like the pieces just get pushed into that. Be careful if you're hitting it with a hammer. They will break. I did break one. Just kind of tapping it in. Maybe a rubber mallet would be better, but I did not. I don't think I even really hit it that hard, but it's plastic and you're hitting it with a hammer. It can break. But I mean, you can just push on them too. It's just a little harder when you push on them and like do this together. Ark says, just put together my SongMix. Pretty impressive being plastic. I know, right? I mean, it's not a bad little rack for the price and what you get. You definitely could spend more. I mean, if you get like, sort of the Mac Daddy metal racks, they'll be more stable, but you're going to pay a lot more for them too. I just don't know that it's really worth it to get to that much more. Susanna says,
Great question.
how do you keep track of which shoes are where? Do you have a system where you have like shelf A, row 1 or something? I just memorize them all. I just memorize all 119. No, that's not true. I would never do that. Does he have a system? Sometimes making Karin an administrator doesn't seem like such a good idea. I'm just teasing. No, but yeah, we have a system. It's really simple. We actually just, I don't know if you can see it or not, but like there's labels you can see right there on the rack. SHA 10, SHA 10, SHA 9, SHA 9. And SHA is just shoe and area A in case we ever have another shoe area. We might have a shoe. And it's just a number, and we're just going to number these sequentially. So 10 has got 2 spots. The reason I did that, I just thought it would be a little simpler to put them in groups of, 10 shoes in an area. So SHA 10 is the top 2 racks. SHA 9 is the next 2. SHA 8 and then 1 through 5 over here, and I've actually got 11 through 15 out in the garage. And then on my spreadsheet, when I make the listing, I put a row, and I'll put in the row, hey, this is item number 5027, and it's in SHA-8. That's how I find it. So, and that also goes in the listing when I put it listed on eBay. So when I sell it, all I gotta do is say, all right, it's item number 5008 or 5009, and it's in SHA-8. Go out and find it, box it up, send it out.
Questions I'm not purposefully answering. You go for your bad self. Mark and then Nick.
What are the orange rolls on the shoe rack? They are actually, Karen will be upset if I don't show you this.
And if you don't tell them what they are.
Yeah, so the orange rolls, guys, well, these are green, but they're to keep the shoes in shape, like these boots, because if you don't, what'll happen is they'll flop over and they'll start to get creases in them, which you don't want. They also help too when you take a photo. You can see how nice and neat that stands up. One tip: don't include the roll with in the photo because somebody might want it. So, but that's what they're for, and they work really well. So what those are pool noodles like you buy at the dollar store, and you just cut them. And we actually have some that are, you can see the orange ones up there are kind of short. They're about this tall. So you can put those in a smaller shoe. So when you take a photo, I don't know if I have a good photo or a good shoe here to do it with. Maybe this one. No, they're not going to fit in that one. That one's too small. Yeah, so like this little pair of boots, you can see is kind of floppy. But if we take this, now when we take a photo, it'll look nice and like a boot, right? So that's what we use them for. And like I said, they're pool noodles. You get them for $1 at the dollar store. You can cut them to whatever size you need, and you just keep reusing them, you know, for as long as you need them. We just store them up there. Let's see. What's next? Oh, ever thought of pre-boxing them? We did, Nick. And if you go back, we actually were doing that. And then I decided after reading some information not to continue doing that. The reason is because when shoes get boxed up or bagged up, any moisture that's in there can cause mold to grow on the shoes. I had no idea that was the case. That's probably the reason why when you get new shoes at a shoe store, have you ever noticed how they have the little silica gel thing in the box wrapped up? That's probably how they get shipped, because that helps absorb any moisture in the box so the shoe doesn't get mold on it. And I had no idea that even happened, but bagging up your shoes, I read in a couple different places, could cause mold to grow. So it's better to have them out in the open. Yes, they're going to get dust on them and all that good stuff, but it's better to have them out in the open where the air is circulating and you're not likely to get mold growth, which could be a problem in your garage too. I'm going to be kind of curious to see if that becomes a problem in mine. If it does, I will get a dehumidifier and run it. That'll be the solution. But I would suggest not boxing up or bagging up your shoes. It actually could cause you problems, depending on how long they sit there, of course. So. I love those shoe racks. I think I better buy one. Link in the description. They are really great racks. I don't know how we found it. How did we find those? We were just looking and we just found them. Yeah.
We have the little shorty one, and then we found those that were bigger. So.
Oh yeah, we had a 5-tier one, and then we found these and the reviews on Amazon were great. You know, and I was like, you know, they're probably pretty decent. Do you individually wrap each shoe when shipping? Sometimes, Thrift Jesus. That's a great question. So what I've done, gang, and I probably need to find a better solution. So I've got a lot of poly bags that I don't really use that often. So if it's like shoes that'll get, you know, that'll get scuffed easy, like even these little boots I had a minute ago, not tennis shoes, but if it's like leather, I will take those poly bags and I'll put one shoe in one and one shoe in the other and put those in the shoe box. Keeps them from like rubbing together in the box. And really, if you put some packing material on, they shouldn't really move around anyway. But that way it kind of keeps them from moving around, and it helps use those poly bags. And you can get free poly bags from eBay too with your quarterly coupon. And I use poly bags to ship stuff too. But I do have a lot of excess poly bags right now, so I've just been using some of them for that. Where in the listing do you put the inventory number? We've been putting it in the title. And the reason we do that is because we send an invoice, not really an invoice, more like a packing slip with every order. And we print that out. And we print that out, it's got that number in the title, and we can compare that to the shoe right before we put it in the box to make sure that we're putting the right item in there. So we're seeing, hey, this is, Lucky Ballet Flats, item number 27. And that's what I've got here with the tag on it. Like the tag, I'll show you one on here. Like you can see on these little Merrills that there's a little tag here that's got that item number. So you can see the number and the location and what it is. So when we go and we pull this shoe and we go to ship it, we're comparing this to what's on that invoice to make sure that it's the right item. Because it's easy, guys, when you start pulling a bunch of items to screw it up. So we keep this tag with it kind of right till the very last moment, right before we put it in the box. That way we know that it's those. Like today, I was listing shoes and I listed, it was some topsiders, and I listed a pair that got sent back and returned actually. And so I was listing a new pair, and I'd already relisted the ones that got sent back, but I was listing the new pair, and they were exactly the same type of shoe. And so they were literally one inventory row below the other ones. Now, they were different color, but it was the same shoe, same size. So it's like, you got to keep those tags or keep some way with that, because what about if you sell that one or they're on the same shelf or close? It'd be easy to grab the wrong one. So you definitely want to have a good system for identifying your shoes, because these are going to look a lot, alike. Expose your soles. What does that mean, Tino? I'm not even sure what that means. That's awfully personal. How do you stop the spread of athlete's foot? What if a buyer claimed they got from a pair you sold? That's pretty funny. Yeah, Tino's right. You can't prove that. I mean, that's ridiculous. I would just say, I don't know, start a return. Return. I don't know what else to say about that. I would say, just me talking, if you buy something pre-owned that's clothing off of eBay or wherever you get it, probably a good idea to clean it or wash it before you use it. Just a little tip there. I would. I mean, I wouldn't buy jeans and just go wear them without washing them first that I bought pre-owned, for sure. That'd be a pretty funny thing for somebody to say, though. Hey, your shoes gave me athlete's foot. I wonder if people do that with other things like, hey, your computer mouse gave me carpal tunnel. I mean, that's silly. All right, how about Deodorizer? I saw a brand called Odorban. Yeah, I mean, Lysol's good. I mean, why not? If you want to clean these guys and make them nice for your customer, why not? The tricky part is, though, people are allergic to certain things. They can be allergic to certain chemicals and cleaners and so on. So you could, I even heard, one trick a lot of clothing resellers will use sometimes is put a little piece of fabric softener in the bag or box with the item to make it smell good when you send it to your customer. But somebody was talking about that in one of the reseller groups and mentioned that they had a customer who was allergic to fabric softener. So when they opened it up, they're like, oh, I can't use that, because it smelled like their Downy sheet or whatever. So you got to be careful if you start putting chemicals and things like that on your items before you send them out, even though they may be totally benign. You just never know. Somebody got mono from their laptop. There you go. It's one of those things like you're saying causation for something that you really can't prove. And a lot of times it's just a coincidence. I'll have to check out Odoban. I haven't heard of it, but that makes sense. Gets out a lot of smells.
You can talk about the cigarette smell that we're dealing with the boots and those rubber shoes.
Oh yeah, we have a couple things. Karen's got a pair of boots she's trying to sell that are they're yours. They're mine? They're out there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought they were yours.
They're in timeout because they stink.
Yeah, we got a pair of rubber boots that smell like rubber.
No, these smell like cigarettes.
What do these smell like?
Those are the cigarette boots, and then the waders are in the summer.
Yeah, these boots, guys, we're having an issue with that. They have a slight.
It was a lot worse.
They have a slight smell of cigarette smoke. And you know, if you ship these out to somebody and they're allergic to cigarettes, you know, that's why, you know, and that brings up an interesting point. I see a lot of sellers, guys, who put in their titles and they're selling pre-owned clothing or shoes, comes from a smoke-free home. You don't know that. I mean, your home might be smoke-free, but if you're buying something pre-owned and then you sell it to someone else, you don't know all the provenance of that item and what's happened with it along the way. You know, that would be like, imagine selling like a computer to somebody and saying contains no viruses. You don't know that. You don't know that unless you just go on and wipe everything off of it, which you could do, you know, which would be fine. But, you know, so I'd be very careful, like telling somebody that something comes from a smoke-free home. I know there's a lot of resellers who do that. I don't do that because I don't know that that's true. And if that person is highly allergic to cigarette smoke and it's got just a whiff of that in there, it could cause them to have a reaction, maybe even so faint that I would just overlook it and wouldn't even bother me. And I'm pretty sensitive to it, but there are people who are super sensitive to it. And you don't want to do that and send something out. You don't want to say something you don't know is true. So I would recommend not doing that. I would recommend just staying away from that issue. And if somebody asks you, hey, does this come from a smoke-free home? You could say, not really sure. I don't smell smoke on it, but that doesn't mean there isn't some. There could be. But there you go. Let's see here. What other questions or comments?
There's a couple. There's something about listing.
Yeah, somebody asked, is yuckiness a word? Yeah, I think it is. I want to know if my brother or sister can help me list items on eBay, but we're not living in the same house and state. Glad if you can answer. Sure. I mean, of course they could. Probably the easiest way, Sweet Daisy, though, you probably, unless you're going to get a third-party app like InkFrog, which allows you to have registered users, which you'll pay a monthly fee for, you would need to give them your login information. They can log into your eBay account and list things. The tricky part with that is that, you know, where's it going to ship from? Be careful on that, that they're not putting their address. I mean, but if they're under your account, it should be still coming from your address and so on. I'm assuming by the gist of your question, you're probably sending them photos and then they're going to do the listings, which makes sense because the items are staying with you, I would guess. But yeah, you can do that as long as you're comfortable with them having access to your account. There are resellers who do that. If you put inventory number on the SKU, how or where do you get that info from once the item sells? Yeah, DJ, you might not have heard me earlier, but I mentioned we actually put it in the title of the listing for the most part. And if not there, then the custom label field. I love the title of the listing because when that packing slip, the note prints up, I can see it right there in the description. I know that this goes with this. This is what we sold. This is what it is. You can put in the custom label field too. And if you print off a sold listing manifest when you process your orders for the day, there's a column you can have there where you can show the custom label field on that printout. And so you can see where everything's at too. We've done it that way too. Either one works really well. These were worn by President Trump. What are you talking about, Tino? I've got a Trump tie, Tino. Maybe I should say that. Trump tie worn by Trump. I don't think you would be able to say that and get away with it. Let's see. Did I miss another question? I thought I did. No, maybe not.
There were two back to back.
Oh, the one about the question of listing and the inventory number. Yeah,
You're good.
that's probably the easiest thing. So, all right, guys. Well, listen, this has been fun, and I hope you guys got something out of it. Great conversation, great info in the chat and so on. People chiming in, so I appreciate that. thanks for stopping by today. If you can, hit the like button before we take off here. Leave me a question or comment, and I'll do my best to answer it after the show. And, you know, we'll be back next week. I'm planning on doing this on Wednesdays, just doing this shoe update. And hopefully I'll have some more sales for you next week. So hopefully that was helpful for you guys. And like I said, we'll be back. We'll probably, I think Karin's doing a 10 and 10 tomorrow, so check that out. And if not, we'll see you a little bit later this week as too. So hope you guys have a great day. Go out there, sell some stuff, grab all the thingies, as Karin likes to say. And this is Prof Sales saying good sales to you.